How's it going, Exiles? I hope you had like a wonderful holiday season. So I'm finally back from vacation and I have some updates for the build. I made it to like level 92. I'm running fully juiced breaches right now. I can even drop like some raw divines. It's not gonna rain divines from the sky, don't get me wrong, but you know, I drop them once every like second or third breach, and I have the build at a state where I can comfortably farm very heavily juiced breaches now. So I have some build updates in here. I have the updated itemization, and also everything is in the planner in the description down below. I have the updated passive and the updated atlas tree. I made slight changes to the skills, but really not much at all. And right now I'm pretty much saving all my currency to get an ingenuity belt, which is going to be a huge upgrade for this build. And at this point I cannot really get strong updates on my gear below like the 10 divine range anymore. So that's why I'm kind of saving up for an ingenuity right now. And I also have like some thoughts how I want to update this build in the future and what direction I want to take it to. So that's already it for the introduction. Again, the planner in the description is completely updated, so make sure to check out the planner. And without further ado, let's go right into the updates to the itemization. So quickly want to talk about the gear changes I actually did, which is not a whole lot. I generally just upgraded everything I had before. So first of all, I focused on getting gloves and boots with high mana, rarity, resistances. And I bought like 2 to 3 pairs of them, and then I corrupted them to get double sockets. Because on these ones here, you don't really need the sockets for energy shield or anything. So the increased maximum mana really helps here. Same I did with the boots. My next upgrade will probably be a 35% one, but still, I bought like boots with decent maximum mana, intelligence, rarity, and some resistances. Corrupt them, double socket them to get some extra mana. Belt, I really didn't change anything. I mainly used this to fix resistances, but I changed the charm. So I removed the stun charm because I have more stun threshold now in skill tree. So that's why I'm now using a golden charm, which gives you a little bit of extra loot in the map. It's not like a difference like night and day, but it still does something. The rings, I'm still using the same ones, mana, rarity, resistances mainly, and mana regeneration. The next big upgrade I'm saving for right now is ingenuity belt. I'm not sure how much I want to spend, but I probably want to go into like the 20 divine range for getting that belt, because at this point my gear is alright, it's pretty good, but I cannot really get any updates for less than like, you know, 7 to 10 divines. So I rather now save up for ingenuity, because that's gonna give me like the most bang for my buck on my rings here. So on the chest piece, I just upgraded this to have more energy shield with faster start implicit. I feel like this is a pretty good piece here. Could corrupt this. I bought this without the resistances. Now it's like probably like 5 to 6 divines or something like that. But you know, just having the same one with 50 less energy shield is just 1 divine or so. For the wand, I have a +5 now, which I kind of regret because it gives me more mana cost for the spark. I had a very good +3 before, which ended up being like 5 to 7k less DPS than this +5. A very good +5 is very expensive. I would not recommend going for a +5. You can go for a very good +3 or for a good +4 in the range of like 1 divine easily. For focus, I'm currently just going for a lot of energy shield. I felt like getting most energy shield is much cheaper than getting high amounts of mana or anything. So this one ended up being pretty good, and I corrupted it for faster start of energy shield recharge here. And for my helm, I also just go for high energy shield helmet with a lot of mana and intelligence. I tried to get rarity on the helmet, but it's way too expensive. And for the amulet, I'm still running the same everlasting gaze with 28% and the allocation of piercing shot. On my weapon swap, I didn't really change anything. I just got a better stuff with +6 to all spells. Really, this is like super min-maxing. You don't need to do this at all. You can get one with like +4 all skills for like 2 exalts. It's gonna do pretty much exactly the same. This just gives you like, you know, 1% extra damage while you're standing in the Sigil of Power. For the skill tree, I ended up making quite a few updates. I'm still keeping Heart of the Storm for the extra recoup here. I don't really need the extra exposure, and you know, all the other stuff without crit doesn't really do anything for me because I'm not really running bosses. I don't really need this at all. I'm pretty much just running breaches at this point. So for the skill tree, we changed it around a little bit. So first of all, what we did is we changed this routing here I still pick up all the energy shield stuff here, but I'm now going the route over the lightning damage here, and then we go to the left, and I basically pass through the energy shield to get the jewel socket. And this one is still pretty much all the same stuff we had before. The difference is we're now passing here to pick up this extra 3% mana. Because, you know, picking up extra mana gets quite difficult. At a certain point, you cannot really find any mana in your skill tree anymore. So I find this new node, even though it just being 3%, pretty good. And it also gives me additional stun threshold, which I was talking about. I have more stun threshold from tree now, right? So I have this nodes here, which is like, what, 36. And then we have this one here, which is another 12, so we have like 50, and I have some on my jewels, so I'm at like 60 or 65 or something like that. And that's why I really skipped the stun charm for now. And then one more change I made here is basically we go for lightning quick here now for more attack speed, and then we put in time lost diamond here with 1% increased maximum mana. And the second stat is for fixing resistance, which is nice. You can definitely get better ones. These are like 1 to 2 divines for just the 1% increased mana with the resistance, but this basically gives you 6% increased mana, which is pretty good for a jewel slot here. And then besides that, I didn't really change anything. We still have the second weapon slot for all the curse stuff here and the curse stuff here. The only thing I changed, still, I removed these energy shield here because I have 5k energy shield and 6k mana now. So I really don't think I need more energy shield nodes at this point. At some point, probably these ones are going to go as well. And because that now makes this curse cluster pretty much far away, I cannot reach it anymore, I put my weapon swap on this spell area of effect here, which ends up making my sigil of power a little bit larger as well. And that's pretty much all the changes I made to the skill tree. I'm still trying to figure out a good usage for controlled metamorphosis jewel, because that can probably save you up to like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 nodes passing to the notables. But yeah, I'm still figuring that out. I have to buy the jewels and see if I can make good use of them. The tree is for level 90, so you have the planner in the description down below. I'm level 92 and I added these 2 mana regeneration nodes, so just so you're not wondering, this is a little bit different from the tree in the planner. One more thing is I changed the weighting of my jewels, so I'm basically still running cast speed, skill effect duration jewels, and I try to get magnitude of shock as a third stat on everything. But these are quite expensive though. But I changed now to have actually 2% mana on kill jewels instead of 1. So as you can see, I have 1, and here's the second one. Reason for that is just because I have this +5 wand now, it makes my spark pretty expensive. It's like 153 mana now. So it is really starting to get a little annoying. And while I'm mainly doing breaches, with those 4% mana on kill, you're pretty much at 100% mana all the time, as long as you're fighting stuff, right? And yeah, for the skills, I didn't really change anything at all. I still have my Spark with my 6 link here. I'm running at like 66k DPS right now. I know there's people who have way more DPS, and most of them have inflated cast time. So I have seen people who have like a cast time of 0.1 seconds here. And I feel like that's kind of DPS inflation, because in reality, you're not gonna really utilize the 0.1 second cast time. Like even 0.25 second, if you're moving and stutter stepping, you're just gonna get slowed down so fast if you're casting like every 0.1 seconds. So I feel like 0.25 seconds is a little bit slow. If I would end up at 0.2 seconds, I would be pretty comfortable with my cast. So I basically have a relatively high damage on my Spark because I have a +5 as well, and I kind of focus more on the damage than the cast speed right now. If you have godlike rings, obviously you can get rings with cast speed, and you can get cast speed on your +5 wand, and you can get, you know, more cast speed on your focus. So really, the hyper big DPS scalers here are heavily inflated by cast speed. And as I said, for the skills, we didn't really change anything. We still have conductivity with heightened chaos, ritualistic curse, hex bloom, spark, arcane tempo, acceleration, persistence, control disruption, and considered casting, pretty basic stuff. We just have magnified effect on our sigil of power. We have Orb of Storms, which I really rarely use while playing breaches. It's really just for bosses or like sometimes hard elites. You get exposure, strip away for more exposure, overabundance, so you can put it 2 times, and Font of Mana, pretty much just for the mana regeneration. Then we have just Archmage with Lightning Mastery, and Mana Tempest with pre-meditation and Murderous Intent. So right now I have a lot of dexterity to use Murderous Intent. If I wouldn't have, I probably wouldn't spend the 5 dex on it. I'm not sure, because I'm using Mana Tempest now quite a bit because I'm playing heavily juiced breaches where our mobs have way more hit points than before. So I think the Culling Strike does help quite a bit since I'm really using Mana Tempest more than before. Flame Wall, I rarely use it, pretty much just stationary before like opening a breach. I don't really cast it that much. And then Blink I basically just have on my weapon swap, so you can also, you know, assign a weapon set to Blink. As you can see, my Blink is on weapon set 2 and my Archmage is on weapon set 1. So whenever I'm like backtracking, I can just weapon swap and basically, you know, just Blink, so I'm a little bit faster. Or if I have to like jump up like an ledge or a cliff or something like that, it's really helpful. But beside that, there's really no way to get like 60 spirit for an extra Blink in this setup. The Atlas tree I also slightly changed. First of all, I highly recommend if you're running breaches to, you know, get the breach stones and get these points. At least get 6, so you have the 40% increased monster density and the 30% slower close and open. That really helps me. Unless you have like a super extreme cookie cutter build, I would not recommend getting rid of this 30% slower opening. It really helps a lot. And then besides that, I just made slight changes to Atlas tree. I removed these 2 quantity nodes here, basically, and I instead get the extra tablet effect. The reason for that is I'm now juicing heavily with Influence of Towers, so I can have like 7 to 8 towers influence certain maps, which makes these much more effective than just having like these 4% quant here. And I'm gonna make a build guide, well, not a build guide, but I'm gonna make a little guide on how I juiced my breach map. That's kind of the next thing I'm working on here. And for the boss, still I didn't kill the Avatar of Ash yet, or whatever that thing's called. But, you know, these last ones don't really matter. So we just basically want to irradiate it here because all the boss maps have +1 level. And we want to have an extra shrine. If you have a breach and a good shrine, it's always awesome to have. Besides that, this is a pretty standard tree. Most people are kind of running just to get the extra rares here and get pretty much all the quantity and all the, you know, extra power on the modifiers with the breach and the tablets and everything. So I want to talk a little bit about what's next. So what do I want to do next is pretty much I want to get rid of Energy Shield entirely. To do this, I first of all will need Ingenuity Belt, and we're gonna need much more mana. So we're gonna switch to a regular amulet, which also is gonna have a lot more mana. So I hope I can get like at around 8k mana. So what I want to do then is I want to basically get rid of Mind Over Matter. And I haven't tested this yet if it works, and I think it's pretty expensive to do this. But you can use Mind Over Matter. You can remove Mind Over Matter, which basically gives you like a crazy mana. You will have like 4k mana regeneration or something like that. And then you basically need to get the nodes which give damage taken from mana before life. So you can actually get that on a jewel with a 4% roll. Because in tree you can, I think it's 44%. So you have like 10% here, you have another 8% here, and you have another, it's somewhere here, where is it? Here. So, and you have another, what is this, 16% here, right? So I think it's 44% if I made the math correctly. And you can get 4 on a jewel, or there's a unique jewel which doubles the effect of corrupted magic jewels. So you could technically get 8 on a jewel, but the unique one is pretty expensive. So I have to still figure this out, but I think you can get this with the use of jewels and some, you know, some tricks. You can get this to 100%. So if we can get this to 100%, we can basically remove Mind Over Matter, and with an 8 to 8.5k mana pool and like 4k mana regeneration, maybe even more, this is probably gonna make us close to immortal. Yes, we can still get one-shot by like crazy stuff, but that's not different than right now because, you know, most of the time you're not gonna run around on full energy shield anyway. So that's kind of the direction I wanna look if I can get the build to function without Mind Over Matter with 100% damage taken from mana. And that's pretty much what I'm looking into right now. So this will require certain gear updates. You will get a lot of extra DPS once you remove Everlasting Gaze because you get +2 skills, a crap ton of extra mana, and you can get, you know, cast speed or whatever you want. So it's going to highly increase your damage by just removing this Everlasting Gaze. But yeah, so I'm right now sitting on like 11 divines total, and I still have to, you know, farm a good amount of breaches to get like a decent ingenuity so I can get better rings, fix my resistance better with rings. It will give me like probably like another 250 mana if I switch to ingenuity here. So yeah, that's what I'm looking into. And then obviously we need to get new chest piece, new helmet, triple socket, double socket, and instead of the energy shield, we will have to get maximum mana % as well there. I'm not gonna be able to afford a dream fragment ever, so I'm still gonna try to keep this somewhat grounded, but also since I'm progressing through like much more stronger breach maps, I drop like a raw divine every like, you know, second or third breach or something like that. So I'm kind of, you know, averaging probably like 2 divines an hour right now. So I don't know how long it will take, but I will try to, you know, take the build somewhere around there. And yeah, that's it for the quick update. Make sure to check the planner in the description down below. I also have like the updated trade links and everything in there. And thank you so much for watching, and I see you guys on the next update.